What I'd like to share with you is a model for communication that, if you have not seen it before, is probably going to be a little bit mind-blowing when you actually understand how communication works and what happens when humans are speaking to each other, what happens when we're receiving information, when we're experiencing events in our lives. This will make sense of why, if you've ever sat at a family dinner, like whether it's at a wedding or a holiday dinner, and one person at the table drove you crazy and you thought that they were completely offside and offensive, and somebody else in your family just laughed and thought it was hilarious. Okay, this will explain that phenomenon. Now I'm going to just take a second here to pull up my screen. So this is the NLP communication model. And this says an event happens. So in this case, we've got some friends talking. So somebody says something, and that information comes into us through all of our senses, and it comes in at millions of bits per second. That's what the BPS is, okay? That information is coming in at millions of bits every single second. There's millions and millions of bits of information coming in as I'm speaking to you. Okay, and that information comes in. Now, can you consciously attend to millions of bits of information per second? Absolutely not. It's impossible. So our systems as human beings will delete, distort, and generalize information. Okay? And what we're left with is 134 bits of information, which breaks into 7 plus or minus 2 chunks. Now, advertisers know this. Advertisers absolutely know this. It's why they want to be part of the top sort of 7 to 10, ideally top 5 on what they call unaided recall. So that would be if I asked you to name 5 different brands of chocolate bars, whichever ones you would name would be in that top 5 list. Okay, so back to communication. So information comes in, and you're able to get 134 bits of information per second. But if we went from millions down to 134, then what the heck happened? We deleted and distorted and generalized information. And we did that by processing it through our own filters. I have filters. You're watching me. You have filters too. Everybody who's watching this has their own set of filters, and they're all going to be different filters, because what are our filters? We filter through language. That includes body language and nonverbal communication. We filter through our memories. Now, I have different memories than you have. Some of our memories are really good memories. Some of our memories are really not so good memories. But all of our memories that we have these belief systems attached to them. Okay, now some of those belief systems are healthy and supportive. Quite often our belief systems formed from childhood memories are not healthy and supportive belief systems. They're not belief systems that we want to have as adults. And when we're internalizing communication, we're running it through all of those belief systems and all of those old memories. Okay, we're processing through old traumas, we're processing through culture, we're processing through family beliefs, through cultural beliefs, through the economic times that we grew up in. We're processing through all kinds of conditioned thinking, and we're processing through our values, our unconscious values about health, relationships, career, money, spirituality. So we're processing all of this information. It happens very unconsciously, and it happens in a split second. And what we're left with is 134 bits that turns into an internal representation. Okay, so the internal representation is the picture in your head. And the picture in your head is probably going to be really positive or really negative, or maybe somewhere in between. And what happens is everything in our lives runs from that picture. Okay, that picture is going to create our emotional state. So if it was a positive picture, it might create a positive emotion. If it's a negative picture, it might create a negative emotion. And our physiology mixes with the emotional state through the role of neurotransmitter, and it also drives our behavior. So our actions are all running from internal representations, which are running from our 134 bits, which have been determined by our filters. Now, this can be a really good thing if you've done a lot of work and your filters are really clear and clean, or this cannot be such a great thing. And this is how somebody can say something and two people will hear two completely different things. One of my favorite examples of this is my husband and I. My husband, Steve, and I, we have a couple of kids. And when our eldest was only 2 years old, he used to hate brushing his teeth. Toothbrushing was a battle almost every single night. And there was one night where he was really fighting me for toothbrushing, and I was trying really hard to keep my cool because we believe in gentle, calm parenting, like Zen parenting. But Zen parenting is not so Zen when you have a toddler. with a mouthful of cavities who doesn't want to brush their teeth. So I looked over at my husband's name is Steve, and I looked over at him and I just went, "Oh, Steve," because he was just staring at me through the doorway. And he turned around and went and sat down on our bed and started playing like Candy Crush or something on his phone. I know the other moms out there are like, "Oh my God, WTF, I would have lost my mind." I did not lose my mind. I remembered that I had skills. We got our little guy's teeth brushed, got him to bed. And later on, I looked at my husband and I was like, "Babe, can we talk? What was that about? Are you mad at me over something? Was that some kind of like passive aggressive move? Did I do something that I'm aware of? Did you just have a really bad day? But like when I needed your help for you to just turn around and start playing games, like that really hurt." And he looked at me and he goes, "What do you mean needed my help? I thought you were telling me to go away." Okay, so he filtered, like, "I thought you were telling me to go away." And I was like, "Are you kidding? Like, totally, I needed your help." And he said, "Every time I'm trying to brush his teeth and I'm struggling, you come in and take over, and it makes me feel like I'm incompetent as a father." And I had no idea because I was acting from my model of the world that said, you help the other parent, and probably having some of my own stuff around not having that help. So anyway, there's an example. I like to share it because I find so many people can identify with it. But there's an example of what's going on when we filter. So we had this like really amazing discussion about toothbrushing and came up with a new system of just saying tag when we needed help. And if we didn't hear the word tag, we weren't going to step in and step on each other's toes. So magic can happen when you understand how communication flows. The big thing here is avoid making assumptions, because when you've got millions of bits of information coming through your system, going through your filters or not anybody else's, and when you're taking responsibility for that process, you can't really be sure that what somebody said is what you think that they were saying. Okay? You can't be sure. So if you think of the last time you got offended, or the last time you got upset, or the last time that communication just went squirrely, consider that you deleted millions of bits of information from what was being said, that there are other possibilities. And really what you have to do here is ask for clarification, right? Avoid making assumptions, ask for clarification. And if your behavior and your emotional state and your physiology isn't going well, then check your IRs, check your internal representations, and help your clients do the same. I tell people all the time, coaching is all about working with these filters. That is what we do as NLP coaches. We figure out what people's filters are. We look at those old memories. We look at those old beliefs. We look at the conditioned thinking, all of the patterns and cycles and value systems that are operating unconsciously with an individual. And we help clean up those filters and get all the gunk out and help them match what they actually want to be expressing in this world. So there you go. Millions of bits of information going down to 134 bits. Creates a picture in your head. The picture affects your emotional state, your physiology, and drives behavior. And understanding this will be a game changer for you and for your clients.